Hey yo guys, time for me to give you my TNA Bound for Glory 4 pay-per-view review. Gotta say, this pay-per-view blew me out of the water, I'll tell you that right now. In my opinion, this is the second best mainstream pay-per-view of this year. Right behind WrestleMania 24 goes Bound for Glory 4. So, really enjoyed this. I mean, you had some matches on here that you thought wouldn't work, especially Monsters Ball, and they turned out to be excellent. Or was really good, I should say. I wouldn't go excellent, but I'd say really good. And the triple threat with Styles, Booker, and Cage was awesome. I mean, AJ was the glue of that match. But we'll get to it as we run down the matches here. So we started the pay-per-view off with I like the opening video package with all the mafia stuff. I still think that's a great theme for any company to do. I mean, people will probably say that TNA stole that from John Cena's WrestleMania 22 entrance, but I mean, come on, that was basically the whole theme of the pay-per-view, just the entrance, and it's smart to do. I mean, it's a big part of the Chicago history. So, anyways, we started with the the Steel Asylum, as the big fucking birdcage. Really though, this match was a lot better than the one at Sacrifice because of card placement. Because on Sacrifice, their card was basically a tag team tournament, and that was your break match when it clearly overshadows your tournament. Whereas on this, you had it as the opener, and you was right because you got to get the crowd off hot, and you sure as hell did. The crowd was hot for this match. I mean, especially when you look at the participants. I mean, this match was Chris Sabin versus Alex Shelley versus Shark Boy versus Jay Lethal versus Petey Williams versus Sanjay Dutt versus Jimmy Rave versus Curry Man versus Super Eric and versus Johnny Devine. I mean, the spots in this match, yeah, it was a bit spotty, but still, it did its purpose and get the crowd hot. I mean, you had your Tower of Doom spots, you had a 4-on-3 with the Prince Justice Brotherhood, I believe on the Guns, and I think Dutt, I can't remember at this time. There was a nice little spot where everyone was hitting, moves in the corner on Johnny Devine. Johnny Devine almost killed Jimmy Rave. I'm pretty sure Jimmy Rave died on the, botched, was inverted, a version of a pile driver there. It looked very sloppy done there. But yeah, then, the finish to this match was you had Jay Lethal and Sanjay Dutt up top, which was good because you kind of got to reminisce in their feud there. And, you had then Lethal, both guys are hanging upside down, which was for a cool visual. And you had Lethal climb up a cage and knock Dutt off. So Jay Lethal's your #1 contender. And from that point, you kind of got the gist where they're going with the X-Division title. But other than that, it was a scar. Much better than the last one. I mean, still, the color scheme I still have a problem with. I still feel the Asylum should be gray or silver or whatever, because the red steel with the red ropes, hard to see. The camera work was pretty piss poor, but they did catch some good stuff in this one. Then we went to the next match, which was, well, before that we had a, vignette with Mick Foley then coming in, taking over the spot. Jim Cornette went to go talk to some executive from Spike about their live HD debut show in a couple weeks. But anyways, then we went to the worst match of the night, and this was just bad. Like, this was terrible. It was, and we knew it would be, but come on. It was terrible. Rhaka, ODB, and Rhino versus the Beautiful People and Cute Kip. This was bad. Apparently, they can have men on women violence pay-per-view now. It was not stated in the fine print here. It was just not stated, and I didn't like that at all. And then, the finish came when Rhino gored Kip and got the win. It just ended this thing mercifully. It was terrible. Let's not even get into this anymore. Just a bad match because Rhino, Kip James, and Rhaka Khan were here. Yeah, that's the whole reason this was bad. Everything was wrong in the violence, which we didn't need. Apparently we could do that. We almost had a match between Kip James and Rhaka Khan. That would have been terrible. I mean, that would have made Kip James versus BG James at Lockdown look like Misawa versus Kawada compared to that. Anyways, then we moved on to the next match, which was Consequences Creed versus Sheik Abdul Bashir for the X-Division title. And this match, Their chemistry was a bit off, but the crowd was hot for this match. They were hot all night. I mean, I love when you do a pay-per-view in Chicago. Chicago I will always give big up props to for anywhere because the crowd's always hot just because they love wrestling. But this one was good. Well, it could have been a lot better. I won't say good. It could have been better, but I don't know, something was lacking. But like I said, the crowd was hot in this one. I mean, I liked how you started this thing off with Creed, you know, going in there and, you know, he hit a somersault plancha over the top rope. It kind of was miscued a bit, but still, I mean, it got the crowd even more hot in the match. But still, I think their chemistry lacked a bit here. But, you know, I mean, Daivari, as I stated before, he's the only true heel in the X-Division, and that's something they really need, and he's doing a good job of that. I mean, the character is kind of pushing it maybe too much, especially with his entrance music. If you haven't noticed, his entrance music has the sounds of planes crashing into a building. Smooth TNA, but really, I don't know. This match just lacked something, but still it was, you know, it was watchable. I mean, it wasn't like the second match on the card bad, so that's just what I thought here. And, you know, the finish wasn't the biggest fan of. It was typical heelness where you had a Abdul Bashir roll up Creed and, you know, hold onto the rope in typical like 1980s heel. So I didn't mind it, but I thought it could have been a bit better. We could have had a decisive finish here. But anyways, then we moved on to another vignette, or not a backstage segment, with Foley talking about the WWE, making TNA look so Bush League. Yeah, I didn't like the segments at all. I mean, Foley will talk about his WWE. I think his whole goal is to remind people that there's another company on television, the bigger and better production valued one. I think he's just there to remind you to watch their shows too. Anyways, then we went on to the TNA Knockout Championship match with Taylor Wilde defending against Roxxi and Awesome Kong. This match was good. I have to say, you know, I may hate Taylor Wilde, you truly hate her, but she had her moments in this match. She, you know, delivering, you know, Mexican arm drags, you know, like out of innovative positions here, not your typical how to get the Mexican arm drag, but still, you know, they had this worked good with, you know, Roxxi and Taylor Wilde, you know, ganging up on Kong, which is what you should do in this match, and they did have that in here. But really, you know, the here came out of nowhere, and that's going to hurt my opinion on this match. You had just had Kong go to the floor and a German suplex by Taylor on Roxxi, and that was the match. I mean, this thing was progressing really well. Could have given this at least another 3 minutes, and he just cut it short. I didn't like that at all. I don't like that her finish is a German that comes out of nowhere. I mean, I like finishers that come out of nowhere, but at least get a credible finish that comes out of nowhere. Not a German suplex. Because that isn't credible anymore as a finisher. I mean, it was just a setup move for anyone, really. It's a setup move for a move off the top, or, you know, just to get a near fall, or just to wear your opponent down type move. It's not a finish. This isn't 1979. Come on, TNA. But overall, the match was better than I expected it would be. Well, it was, no, I shouldn't say that. It was a good match, but just more time would have been needed. Then we went to, you know, a segment where you had AJ Styles saying that he liked Foley better than the guys that came over from the other company. Finally, you had someone realize you shouldn't mention the company by name, and then that brought Team 3D in, and they called AJ Styles a mark since Foley isn't that famous. I mean, and then you had a nice little action between Brother Ray and Foley, which I thought worked well, and hopefully we get to see more of that somehow. But anyways, then we set up Monsters Ball, and on paper, this thing looked like a clusterfuck. 4 teams with weapons, like, you know, yeah, you may have some guys that know what the hell they're doing with weapons, like Homicide and Abyss, but wow. And then you added Steve Mongo McMichael. Michael, just on paper, sounded like a bad idea, and in reality, he was an atrocious idea. Mongo McMichael is the worst anything I've ever seen in this business. Like, if you remember Mongo's in-ring career and you thought, man, that was a piece of shit. No, his refereeing career is the worst refereeing career I've ever seen in my life. He would gas out a pin attempt. A pin attempt! Rhino doesn't even gas out till he hits the ring. Come on! Rhino goes 5 minutes and will gas out. McMichael gasped going down to count 1, 2. Hold on, my phone's ringing. No, McMichael, count that. But he just really hurt this match a lot. But this match worked really well. I liked you gave it time, maybe a bit too much, but I think all the teams worked super hard in this match. Everyone, got a shine point. There were some fun parts in this match. I mean, I thought the part with James Storm with the beer helmet against Mongo was just awesome. And that just solidifies that, TNA has something with beer money. I thought they had it for sure with Hard Justice, but they have something for sure now. I think that's a great comedy duo, and they can be serious when needed be, so there's something good there. Team 3D, what the hell happened to them in this match? This was like the best match I've seen them in at least 2 years. I don't know what happened there. They just seemed to gel well in this match. How they booked them, picking their spots. Obviously, the big spot of this match was flaming tabled. Now, before I kind of go on a bit of a rant about that, I had no problem with flaming tables. Yeah, the table was on fire, and but you send Abyss through this. One, his attire clearly is gonna catch on fire. Like, it was not even funny how on fire this was. They send him through, and he just was ablaze, and they just couldn't put him out for a while. And that was it. And at least that was it for Abyss, because, apparently he has second-degree burns, and he's gonna be out for some time. Or, if he's not gonna be out for some time, what are you thinking? The man has second-degree burns. I think he deserves to get some time off. But other than that, because I would have saved that spot in the ring for the finish, and then you have what you did with Storm spitting beer in Brother Ray's eyes, and you just have get knocked to the floor by Rude, and Rude gets the pin. That's what I would have done there. But, I mean, and one of the other memorable spots in this match, I mean, LAX just worked super hard in this match. I mean, Hernandez did a border toss on Morgan, which was pretty cool. But then of anything, you had Hernandez got the bag of tacks to put on the table. But who the fuck tied this thing? Did they bring, like, every Boy Scout in the state of Illinois to tie that bag? Because if Hernandez, maybe the strongest guy in the company, couldn't open the bag, but the incompetent Mongo McMichael could open the bag, good God, help us all. I don't know who tied that bag. Like, could you just imagine this at WrestleMania? Like, could you imagine a spot like that at WrestleMania where you have someone like, if Chris Masters were still there, yet Chris Masters couldn't open the bag, but, little Mike Chioda opened the bag. That would just, what are you doing? Like, I just didn't get that. But then you put the tables on, and then we had a 3D, and everyone worked well. I really liked this match. As I said, a bit too long, and I would have gone with the flaming table finish because, I mean, at least in the independents, like the hardcore independents like IWA Mid-South or CZW, hell, even XPW, a flaming table or something like that is a finish. This was not the finish. We went on for another 5 minutes with this match, which, but still, loved the match overall, except for the extra time, liked it, thought it was good, and never want to see Mongo McMichael ever again. Good God, shoot that man. Then we went on to, in my opinion, match of the night, triple threat, AJ Styles versus Christian Cage versus Booker T. Everyone here worked their off too. And to me, this just goes to show how valuable of an asset AJ Styles is. Because if you remember Booker T and Christian Cage's matches from SmackDown in 06, they weren't, or not 06, or like 05 I should say. Not 06, Cage was in TNA at that point. Anyways, Booker and Cage just never really could, give it what it should be worth. Styles in here was working like he was in his program with Kurt, and 2004, 2005, early TNA angle, or Styles I should say. I don't know what the hell he was doing. He was the glue in there. I mean, he hit this moonsault off the top rope that you'd only see maybe in a video game. Like, he just flew back like you wouldn't believe. He also hit the Diablo armbar, and he did this beautiful Pele out of nowhere. Like, when he get that Pele on Booker, it just was unbelievable. And then one of the other big spots in this match was you had Cage hit the Prettier on Styles off the middle rope, which, it looked good on paper, but it wasn't that effective to me. And then you had Booker hit the axe kick on Cage. I don't know what the point of Booker going over was. If you still have Christian signed, shouldn't he have won and, you know, try to pick his side? But whatever, that's just what I'm saying there. Wasn't the greatest in the world. Finish-wise, I thought the match was awesome, but the finish, I didn't enjoy the finish. Why would have Booker go over? You should have Cage go over there. But anyways, the next match then, you know, surprised us all here. We had Kurt Angle versus Jeff Jarrett. These guys brought their game as well. I mean, Jeff did his thing here. He hadn't been in the ring since, you know, the spring 7. So goes to show you that, you know, I mean, I didn't expect him to lose anything because, you know, this business and, you know, wrestling is in his blood, and yet you were working with Kurt Angle, so you were, you know, in safe bet that your match wouldn't be bad. Really, they really worked well. I mean, Jeff Jarrett did a Blue Thunder Bomb. Like, wow, that just surprised me. I mean, these guys did work well. They have the chemistry. And it was the typical Jeff Jarrett / TNA overbooked finish where you had Angle, Waffle, Foley with a chair, then he brought out the Foley came in, got Socko on Angle, and Jarrett nailed Angle with the guitar. That's gonna knock my rating down for this one a bit because it was just completely overbooked and wacky. Like, why did we need that? And, you know, Jeff Jarrett got the win there. In a good match, and, you know, maybe if we get a rematch, we have this overbooked stuff, but then again, it's a Jeff Jarrett match in TNA, so we probably will. Anyways, then we go on to the main event here, with Samoa Joe defending the TNA Heavyweight Championship against Sting. This match, way better than we expected. When comparing this match to last year's Bound for Glory main event with Sting and Angle, the overbooked run-ins really hurt it. But the run here, in my opinion, I don't know why people are getting so angry about it. You just had Nash hit Joe in the back with the bat from the floor. It's not like last year where Nash is in the ring trying to beat down Sting or Joe, for example, here. But, you know, these guys worked really well here. I did like the aspect that they brought it to the crowd. I mean, yeah, some people will complain that, you know, every TNA pay-per-view you have to brawl in the crowd, but I thought it added a dimension where, you know, Joe was just frustrated with Sting, you know, calling him out, and it just showed that, you know, both these guys were just really, Joe was more angry with Sting for, you know, dissing these young guys who, you know, helped make this company. I like that a lot, and this led to Joe doing the most incredible thing you're gonna see. You had Sting, like, on the set of steps that, by the way, they're concrete, so Joe's up in, like, a press box type deal. He decides, I'm just gonna run over there and hit a leg lariat. And he did that. I'm pretty sure Samoa Joe's tailbone is where his C vertebrae is now. May God help your back there, Joe. Anyways, I mean, and then, you know, when they came back, you had Sting do a crossbody off the stands. Really, guys are pulling out all the stops. Sting did a tornado DDT in the ring. I don't even think I've ever seen Sting do that in his career. And he brought it out that night. But then the finish, everyone's, oh, this is gay that Sting's champion. Did we not see this coming? Like, honestly, you're not telling me that you didn't see Sting winning this. I predicted Joe because I thought maybe they would have been smart, but come on, in the back of my mind, I knew Sting was probably gonna win the match. And nonetheless, when I found out that Nash was there, he's obviously coming back, and he hit in the back from the floor, people. So this obviously... I just don't see why we're getting so bent out of shape. We saw Sting. I mean, I was like, oh, this sucks. Sting won. And then I got on with, like, everyone, this is gay. I hate it. Fuck TNA. What are they thinking? They're thinking that Sting's just going to be champion for a bit of time before he probably loses it at the next pay-per-view to AJ Styles. I mean, I don't know how you can say you're done with the company when they have a good pay-per-view, a good main event, and good anything. I mean, yeah, Sting won, but... big deal. He's probably gonna drop it in a couple weeks, so don't get all up in a knot here. It was a good, and the frickin' running wasn't even that bad. As I said from last year, Nash is in the ring, man, and he's on the floor here. It was just a small little run, and the only thing I had a problem is, why is Sting gonna try frickin' back? Because he was the frickin' babyface in this match. And I'll give Joe props all in the world, realizing the situation that he's the heel. I'm gonna be a heel. And I really liked the spot in the match where they both did, you know, their finish type moves, and oh, this was just such a surprising match. Overall, thumbs up pay-per-view. That's it for me. I'm out. Peace.